Computers don't understand words. They never have. And yet, you can type a sad movie about loss into a search box and get back films that don't share a single word with your query. How? The answer is a deceptively simple idea. Turn meaning into numbers. Every piece of text, every image, every line of code can be squeezed into a list of numbers that captures what it actually means. Those numbers are called embeddings. And once you understand them, half of modern AI suddenly makes sense. Here's the core problem. A computer sees the words car and automobile as completely unrelated strings of characters. To us, they mean the same thing. But to a machine doing simple text matching, they're as different as car and banana. We need a way to capture meaning, not just spelling. Embeddings solve exactly this. They place words, sentences, and documents into a space where similar meanings sit close together. So, what exactly is an embedding? It's just a list of numbers. A vector. A modern model might turn the word dog into a list of, say, 1536 numbers. Each number captures some hidden feature of meaning the model learned during training. You'll never know what each individual number means, and that's fine. What matters is that words with similar meanings end up with similar lists of numbers. Let's build the intuition. Imagine a giant map, but instead of two dimensions like latitude and longitude, it has hundreds or thousands. Every word becomes a single point on this map. Words about food cluster in one region, words about emotions in another. The whole trick of embeddings is that distance equals difference in meaning. Close points are similar, far points are unrelated. That's the entire mental model you need. Here's the result that blew people's minds back when word embeddings first appeared. Because meaning lives in this number space, you can literally do arithmetic with it. Take the vector for king, subtract man, add woman, and the closest point you land on is queen. The model captured the concept of royalty and the concept of gender as directions you can move along. Meaning became math. Enough theory. Let's generate a real embedding. We'll use the OpenAI API with their latest small embedding model, which is cheap and fast. You pass in your text and you get back the vector. Notice how little code this takes. The heavy lifting, training a model on billions of words, has already been done for you. You just call the endpoint and receive your numbers. Run it, and here's what comes back. A vector with 1536 dimensions. And we're just peeking at the first 5 numbers. This is the raw material of semantic search. By itself, a single vector tells you nothing. Its power only appears when you compare it to other vectors. So let's do exactly that next. To compare two vectors, we don't usually measure straight line distance. Instead, we measure the angle between them using something called Cosine similarity. Think of each vector as an arrow pointing out from the origin. If two arrows point in nearly the same direction, they're similar. Cosine similarity near 1. If they point in completely different directions, similarity drops toward 0. The actual length of the arrow doesn't matter, only its direction. Here's Cosine similarity in plain Python with NumPy. It's just the dot product of two vectors divided by the product of their lengths. We embed 3 sentences, 2 about cats, 1 about finance, and compare them. Watch how the two cat sentences score high together, while the finance sentence scores low against both. The model never saw these exact sentences, yet it understands they're related in meaning. And here are the scores. The two cat sentences land around 0.85. Strongly related. The cat versus finance comparison sits down near 0.12. Clearly unrelated. No keyword matching happened here. The word kitten never appeared in the first sentence, yet the model knew it belonged. This is semantic search in its purest form. Here's where it gets powerful. Embeddings aren't limited to text. Models like Clip embed images and text into the same shared space. So you can search a photo library with a text query like a dog playing in snow. Code embedding models do the same for source code, letting you search a code base by describing what a function does, not what it's named. Different data, same idea. Everything becomes a vector you can compare. Now, a practical nuance for intermediate folks. More dimensions can capture more nuance, but they cost more to store and compare. OpenAI's newer models let you shrink the dimension count on request, trading a little accuracy for big savings on storage and speed. You can ask for 256 dimensions instead of 1536 and still keep most of the quality. For a large catalog with millions of items, that trade-off directly hits your cloud bill. Comparing two vectors is trivial. But what if you have 10 million of them and need the closest match in milliseconds? Looping through all of them is far too slow. This is the job of a vector database. Tools like FAISS, Pinecone, or PG Vector. They build clever indexes that find approximate nearest neighbors almost instantly, without checking every single vector. For Indian developers, PG Vector on a managed Postgres instance is often the cheapest place to start. Let's see a minimal vector index in action with FAISS, Facebook's open source library. We create an index sized to our dimension count, add a batch of document vectors, and then search with a query vector. FAISS returns the index of the closest matches and their distances. This same pattern scales from 100 vectors on your laptop to billions in production. The API barely changes. This is the foundation of retrieval augmented generation, or RAGI. The technique behind most company chatbots that answer from private documents. The flow is simple. You embed your documents once and store them. When a user asks a question, you embed the question, find the closest document chunks, and feed those chunks to the language model as context. The model then answers using your data, not just what it memorized during training. One practical gotcha: you don't embed a whole 50-page PDF as one vector. That would blur all the meaning together. Instead, you split documents into smaller chunks, maybe a few hundred tokens each, and embed those. Good chunking is half the battle in a real RAG system. Split too small, and you lose context. Split too large, and search precision drops. Here's a simple sliding window chunker to get you started. Before we wrap, a few traps to dodge. First, never mix embeddings from different models. Vectors from one model live in a completely different space and can't be compared with another's. Second, always normalize your vectors if your similarity metric expects it. And third, embeddings reflect their training data so they can carry biases. Something to keep in mind for any system that ranks or recommends. Treat these vectors as powerful but imperfect representations of meaning. So here's the whole pipeline in one mental picture. Text, images, and code go into an embedding model and come out as vectors. You store those vectors in a database, then search by similarity to find what's relevant. That's semantic search, recommendation, and RAG, all built on the single idea of turning meaning into numbers. Once this clicks, you'll start seeing embeddings everywhere in modern AI. Let's lock in the three big things. 1. An embedding is just a list of numbers that captures meaning, so similar things sit close together in vector space. 2. You compare them with Cosine similarity, and a vector database makes that search fast at scale. 3. This is the engine behind semantic search and RAG. Next up in the AI track, watch our deep dive on building a complete RAG chatbot from scratch, where we put every one of these pieces together. If this made embeddings finally click, subscribe, and drop your biggest question in the comments. We genuinely read them all.